वृंद की जय, नामचारी श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद की गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय, श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, तुलसी महारानी की जय, श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय, transcendental book of prasad distribution की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Back here, feel for nice dancing.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtatra Sadhya Shishimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashta prayeshva patreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloker bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 10, Chapter 2, text number 18. This is from the pastime of the prayers by the demigods. This pastime is taking place prior to the appearance of Lord Krishna, while Lord Sri Krishna was in the womb of Mother Devaki. And because we are currently just between the appearance of Lord Sri Balaram and Lord Sri Krishna, I decided to pick this verse and we'll discuss some of the pastimes and especially the appearance of Balaram and Krishna and the dynamics of how this all happened. It's quite complicated. Tato Jagan Mangalam Achyutam Sham. Tato Jagan Mangalam Achyutam Sham. Samahitam Shura Sutena Devi. Samahitam Shura Sutena Devi. Dadhara Sarvatmakam Atma Bhutam. Dadhara Sarvatmakam Atma Bhutam. Kashta Yatanandakaram Manastaha. Kashta Yatanandakaram Manastaha. Tato Jagan Mangalam Achyutam Sham. Samahitam Shura Surena Devi. Dadhara Sarvatmakam Atma Bhutam. Kashta Yatanandakaram Manasta. Do you like the track?
Tato Jagan Mangalam Achyutam Sham.
Tato Jagan Mangalam Achyutam Sham.
Samahitam Shura Sutina Devi.
Samahitam Sura Sutena Devi.
Dadhara Sarvatmakam Atma Bhutam.
Dadhara Sarvatmakam Atma Bhutam.
Kashtayatananda Karamanashtaha.
Kashtayatananda Karamanashtaha. Krishna. Tato Jagan Mangalam Achyutam Sham.
Samahitam Shura Sutena Devi.
Samahitam Shura Sutena Devi.
Dadhara Sarvatmakam Atma Bhutam.
Dadhara Sarvatmakam Atma Bhutam. Kashtayatanandakaram Manastaha. Like this, right? Okay.
Tato Jagan Mangalam Achyutam Sham.
Tato Jaganmangalam Achyutam Sham Samahitam Shura Sutena Devi Dathara Sarvatmakam Atma Bhutam Kashtayatanandakaram Manasta Tata Thereafter Jagat Mangalam auspiciousness for all living entities in all the universes of the creation. Achyuta Amsham, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is never bereft of the six opulences, all of which are present in all his plenary expansions. Samahitam, fully transferred. Shura Sutena, by Vasudev, the son of Shurasena. Devaki Devi, Dadha. Oh, sorry, Devaki Devi. Dadhara, carried. Sarva Atmakam, the supreme soul of everyone. Atma Bhutam, the cause of all causes. Kashta, the east. Yata, just as. Anandakaram, the blissful moon. Manastaha, being placed within the mind. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thereafter, accompanied by plenary expansions, the fully opulent Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all auspicious for the entire universe, was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki. Devaki, having thus been initiated by Vasudeva, became beautiful by carrying Lord Krishna, the original consciousness of everyone, the cause of all causes, within the core of her heart, just as the east becomes beautiful by carrying the rising moon. Purport. As indicated here by the word Manastaha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was transferred from the core of Vasudeva's mind or heart to the core of the heart of Devaki. We should note carefully that the Lord was transferred to Devaki not by the ordinary way of a human being, but by Diksha, initiation. Thus, the importance of initiation is mentioned here. Unless one is initiated by the right person, who always carries within his heart the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot acquire the power to carry the Supreme Godhead within the core of one's own heart. The word Achyutamsham is used because the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Sat Aishwarya Purna, full in the opulences of wealth, strength, fame, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. The Supreme Godhead is never separated from his personal opulences. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Ramati Murti Shukala Niyamena Tishtam. The Lord is always situated with all his plenary expansions, such as Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha. Therefore, the word Achyutamsham is specifically used here, signifying that the Lord is always present with his plenary expansions and opulences. There is no need to think of the Lord artificially as yogis do. Dhyanavastita tat katena manasa pashyanti yam yogina. Yogis meditate upon the Supreme Person within the mind. For the devotee, however, the Lord is present, and his presence need only be awakened through initiation by the bona fide spiritual master. The Lord did not need to live within the womb of Devaki, for his presence within the core of her heart was sufficient to carry him. One is here forbidden to think that Krishna was begotten by Vasudeva within the womb of Devaki and that she carried the child within her womb. When Vasudeva was sustaining the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, he appeared just like the glowing sun, whose shining rays are always unbearable and scorching to the common man. The form of the Lord, situated in the pure unalloyed heart of Vasudeva, is not different from the original form of Krishna. The appearance of the form of Krishna anywhere, and specifically within the heart, is called Dhamma. Dhamma refers not only to Krishna's form, but to his name, his form, his quality, and his paraphernalia. Everything becomes manifest simultaneously. Thus, the eternal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full potencies was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, exactly as the setting sun's rays are transferred to the full moon rising in the east. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, entered the body of Devaki from the body of Vasudeva. He was beyond the conditions of the ordinary living entity. When Krishna is there, it is to be understood that all his plenary expansions, such as Narayan, and incarnations like Lord Nrsimha, Varaha, are with him, and they are not subject to the conditions of material existence. In this way, Devaki became the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second, and the cause of all creation. Devaki became the residence of the Absolute Truth, but because she was within the house of Kamsa, she looked just like a suppressed fire, or like misused education. When fire is covered by the walls of a pot, or is kept in a jug, the illuminating rays of the fire cannot be very much appreciated. Similarly, misused knowledge, which does not benefit the people in general, is not very much appreciated. So Devaki was kept within the prison walls of Kamsa's palace, and no one could see her transcendental beauty, which resulted from her conceiving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Connecting upon this verse, Sri Viraraghava Acharya writes, Vasudeva Devaki Chatarayor Hridayor Bhagavata Sambandha. The Supreme Lord's entrance into the womb of Devaki from the heart of Vasudeva was a heart-to-heart relationship. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Svavadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttavada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the Bhagavad Gita is mentioned Krishna is known as the goal of all the Vedas, and he is known by all the Vedas. He's the compiler of the Vedas. Vidaischa sarver aham eva vedyo vedantakrit vedavid eva chaham. I'm to be known by all the Vedas, and indeed I'm the compiler of the Vedas. Krishna is the source of everything. Sarva Karana Karanam, the source of all the spiritual worlds, the source of all the material worlds. And Krishna is the father of all the living entities. Yet Krishna and his expansions like Lord Balaram, Lord Ram, Ramachandra, Varahadev, Vamanadev, Matsya, unlimited expansions. So Krishna, I'm sorry, I lost the thread a moment. Krishna is the source, he's the father of all the living entities, yet he takes, sometimes he takes the role of a subordinate of his devotees. So in this particular pastime, Lord Krishna himself, who is the source and the fountainhead of all the avatars, he takes birth from his chosen eternal parents, Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. But up to this event, there is quite an elaborate course of events that took place before Krishna appeared in Gokula, Mahavan. So we know the story, I believe you do know the story of Mother Devaki's and Vasudev's imprisonment by King Kamsa. And the reason for this was King Kamsa's fear that Mother Devaki's 8th child would be the cause of his death, which was predicted by an unseen voice from the sky. And to make things even worse, Narada Muni, apparently worse, Narada Muni, he manipulated the understanding of Kamsa that actually any one of those 8 children could be the cause of his death, because sometimes the demigods they use word jugglery, and the 8th child doesn't necessarily need to be the one that appears at the end. So, because we also know that Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago, yet he is the cause, he's the source of all the other incarnations who appeared before him. So in a higher understanding, these things are all relative. What is the beginning, what is the end, So these things are relative. And Narada Muni is a great saintly personality. He's a great devotee of Lord Krishna. So there is obviously a very valid reason why he in instilled this understanding in the mind of Kamsa, who initially didn't want to kill all the children. The first 6 children that appeared, the first child that appeared, Vasudeva presented to Kamsa as it was his promise, and Kamsa said, no, you can take it back, I'm not afraid. But then Narada Muni came and gave his explanation that any of the children could be the cause of his death. And the reason behind this we will not discuss very elaborately, but we know that we have been taking birth many times. We know, we are aware of the concept of reincarnation. So these 6 children, they have previously been the sons of Maricha, and there is a particular pastime connected that I didn't research very much in preparation for this lecture, but as far as I remember, there was a particular curse connected that these sons of Maricha, who were very elevated personalities, they had to take birth in this world and be killed by their uncle. So there's some backstory to this, but Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he puts more emphasis on the fact that these 6 children, they represent the 6 contaminations of our mind. And those are lust, anger, envy, arrogance, greed, and illusion. Mother Devaki, in this analogy, represents bhakti. And Maricha represents the mind, the previous father of those 6 children. And by approaching Krishna, who then later appeared in the womb of Mother Devaki, we become purified from those 6 contaminations. So by approaching Krishna through the process of Bhakti Yoga, those 6 contaminations are removed from our mind and from our heart, so that Krishna can appear within our heart also. And so after all those 6 children had been killed by Kamsa, the 7th child entered into the heart of Devaki, and Lord Krishna, who was yet unmanifest at that time, he instructed his sister to I have to this is coming later. At that time, Rohini is the second wife of Vasudeva, and she was also pregnant. So when she was pregnant for 3 months, Vasudeva sent her to Gokula to take shelter of Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, in fear that Kamsa may, due to his atrocious activities of killing so many children, that he may also try to kill this child. So Mother Rohini was staying under the shelter of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi. And a few months later, Lord Krishna instructed his sister Yogamaya to exchange the children of Mother Devaki, the first wife of Vasudeva, and the child of Rohini. It's getting complicated. Rohini was staying in Gokula, and Mother Devaki was staying in Mathura at this time. So Yogamaya went and she took the child in a transcendental way from the womb of Rohini and transferred this child to Mother Devaki. And soon after this, Rohini woke up and she saw that this child, there was no child in her womb. Usually you have some symptoms when you're pregnant, and all of a sudden it was gone, so she was very disturbed. But Yogamaya explained to her, don't worry, I'll exchange, I'll replace the child. And this is all some higher arrangement, so don't worry. So she took the child from the womb of Devaki and placed in the womb of Rohini. And this particular child was none other than Sri Balaram. And the other child that was in the so this particular child that was in the womb of Devaki was actually Balaram and was transferred to the womb of Rohini. And the child in the womb of Rohini was oh my God. Krishna. Well, Yogamaya was instructed by Krishna to appear in the womb of Mother Yashoda, and Krishna was placed in the womb of Mother Devaki. So somehow or another, Lord Balaram appeared 8 days before Lord Krishna. Balaram appeared on Purnima, the full moon, and Krishna appeared on the 8th day of the waning moon, which is generally considered the most inauspicious day of the month. Actually, usually the waxing moon period is considered more auspicious as the moon grows. Usually more Vedic ceremonies are performed to increase. Moon increases it's in size, so it increases the prosperity. But because Krishna is obviously all auspicious, so he purifies everything. And we also see that Krishna appeared in the prison in a very distressful situation. And although Devaki and Vasudeva were very great personalities and great devotees, they were put through so many distressful situations. So from this example we can see that what Srila Prabhupada says, easy life and Krishna consciousness don't go so well together. Because Krishna consciousness or pure consciousness can be seen, the level of someone's consciousness can be seen if they are under pressure, if they're in a difficult situation. And the example of King Kamsa is very much the opposite. When King Kamsa was told that he would be killed soon, then he became very fearful and he was ready to even kill his own sister for his own protection. And on the other hand, Devaki and Vasudeva were very determined in their consciousness and very fixed in their consciousness, although all these apparently bad things were happening to them. Shishi Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Shishi Gauranitai ki jai. So, people who are not very much fixed in their faith in God, in any religion, they generally take a distance from their faith, from their faith in God when negative things happen to them, because generally the understanding of what is the symptom or what is the result, the benefit of our practice, our spiritual or religious practice, is misunderstood. On the external level, on the material level, all kinds of things could happen, but this is not the proof of whether we are making spiritual progress or not. In fact, the other way around, Srila Prabhupada says that when Krishna is very pleased with a devotee, he takes everything away materially. One's possessions, one's relationships, one's social status, anything that could be of some value in the material sense that keeps us bound to our material conditioning. So Krishna usually takes these things away. So it's explained that Lord Balaram was actually in the womb of, he was in the womb of Rohini for 14 months before he appeared. And the reason is that he didn't want to be very much older than Krishna, because he wanted to experience those pastimes of friendship with Krishna. And after Lord Balaram appeared, because he was staying in Vrindavan, in the house of Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda would sometimes take Balaram in her arms, and Balaram would go very close to her belly because he knew that Krishna is there. So he was waiting for Krishna to appear. And Lord Balaram is the, Prabhupada would sometimes call this supreme personality of Godhead, servitorship Godhead, something like this. Because Balaram is in fact non-different from Krishna, but he is taking the role of a servant. And Lord Balaram started this service by entering into the womb of Devaki and creating a very auspicious environment, a very attractive environment for Krishna to appear. And then later, when he came to Vrindavan, he also created this mood of devotion to Krishna, because he was already there. So he was actually the first devotee who knew that Krishna is now very soon going to appear from Mother Yashoda. And so Krishna actually entered into the womb of Mother Yashoda directly, along with Yoga Maya. But then Vasudeva Krishna, who is an expansion of the original Krishna, he appeared in the womb of Devaki. And when this exchange took place later, when Krishna took birth in the prison, he was actually also, he had already taken birth in Vrindavan also. So when this exchange took place, when Vasudeva brought, not exchange, yes, exchange, Vasudeva brought this child from the prison to Gokula. This is said that these two Krishnas, they merged. This Vasudeva Krishna merged back into the body of the original Krishna. And the reason is that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So that's why this arrangement was made. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So when he goes, later when Akrura comes and takes Krishna to Mathura, that's actually another form of Krishna, an expansion. And Krishna then is still in Vrindavan in an unmanifest way. So the residents don't really see him, but he's there. And Yogamaya then was transferred to the prison and gave Kamsa a lecture at how he is so cruel and that he will be punished for all his activities. And then Kamsa repents, apparently, and he releases Devaki and Vasudeva, etc. And Krishna appears, and together with Balaram, he grows up. First they crawl on the ground, and anything that Krishna and Balaram did was considered like a festival. The residents of Vrindavan would make a festival. Krishna would start to crawl. Krishna would try to stand up. Krishna's first teeth were growing. And then later, when Krishna started to hurt he was given the charge of the calves. So every time it was like a festival. And many of these festivals we celebrate these days. And Balaram is known as in the mood of friendship with Krishna, with some secondary rasa of parental affection. So we have the 5 rasas: neutrality, Shantaras, then servitorship, Dasyaras. There is fraternal friendship, which is Sakyaras, then Vatsalyaras, which is parental affection, and then there is Madhuryaras, the conjugal relationship. And although Balaram does mainly exhibit the rasas of Sakya and a little bit Vatsalya, he actually serves Krishna in all the 5 rasas. And in the Shantaras, for example, he is serving Krishna by expanding himself into all the paraphernalia of Krishna. So the dham is the place where Krishna performs his pastimes, is considered an expansion of Balaram. The drum, mridanga, specifically, is considered an expansion of Balaram. And all the paraphernalia that we have, tables and everything that you see in the temple.
Even the building.
Yes, the building is the dham also, is an expansion of Balaram, and that's why we hold all these things actually with great respect. So that's why we generally try to avoid kicking the door with the feet or things like this, because it's all used in the service of Krishna. So it's becomes an expansion of Balaram. And in Dasya Ras, Lord Balaram is serving Krishna by anyone? Wanna guess? Can't think of an example right now.
Ananta?
Yes, Ananta Shesh could say yes. In the causal ocean, Lord Vishnu is lying on the 1,000-headed serpent, which is non-different from Balaram. And also when Krishna goes to herd the cows and the calves, sometimes he exhibits tiredness, and then he lies down, and Balaram massages his feet and offers his leg as a pillow. This is how he exhibits this rasa. And then of course the cowherd boys, they play many games, and this is where Balaram exhibits the friendship rasa. Sometimes they pull rope, they do this game of pulling the rope, and they make a line in the center, and they split everyone into 2 teams, and whichever team can pull the other team across the line wins. So one time they performed this pastime, this game, and the side of Balaram won. So Krishna was on one side, and other side was Balaram, and then there was this demon. Was it Pralambasura? Vatsasura. No. Vatsasura is a calf. That was a duck. Anyway, one demon came in the disguise of a cowherd boy, and he was on the side of Krishna. And because Krishna's Krishna's side won. So he was on the side of Krishna, and then all the losers had to carry all the other cowherd boys on their shoulder. And Balaram was carrying this demon on his shoulder. No, it was the other way around. The demon was carrying Balaram on the shoulder. So he thought, let me take this boy very far away and kill him, and then I will be able to peacefully kill Krishna. Because Balaram is the protector. So in the paternal relationship, Balaram was always protecting Krishna. And that's why when the pastime of Brahma Vimohan Lila took place, Balaram was not present, because he would not
would not allow to happen.
Yeah. Balaram was always very aware of any dangers, and he would not allow anything to happen to Krishna. So on this day was actually Balaram's birthday. This is when this pastime took place. And Balaram had to stay at home and distribute charity to the brahmanas, cows and gold and whatever, grains. This is the Vedic custom, that on the birthday you give charity. You may also accept gifts, but the main duty is for the person who has a birthday. And then there's another pastime where Krishna went when the Kalya serpent, I believe, was poisoning the Yamuna. Krishna also went alone with all the other cowherd boys, and then later Balaram came while Krishna was already dancing on the hoods. So this would not have been possible. Balaram would have stopped him. And Balaram was the older brother. In previous pastime of Lord Ramachandra, Balaram appeared as Lakshman, and he was the younger brother, and he had to follow all the instructions of his brother. And because he was asked to make a fire for Sita to prove her purity, he decided, I will not do this again. I will not appear again as the younger brother. I will only appear as the older brother. And that's when he appeared in the pastime of Krishna, he came just before. In the pastime of Lord Chaitanya, he also appeared just before, prior to Lord Chaitanya. So he's actually the older brother of Lord Chaitanya. And just to conclude, in the Madhurya Rasa, actually also Balaram appears. Does anybody know how? Ananga Manjari. Ananga Manjari is one of the gopis who is always engaged in arranging for the most intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna, all the paraphernalia. So this is how he's entering into the Madhurya Rasa also, because you can imagine as the older brother it would be quite strange for him to be present in the Krishna's Rasa Lila. Hare Krishna. So we'll conclude here. I was hoping that over the next few days, it's only one more day before Janmashtami tomorrow, and we will hear more. Mahakrishna Nam Prabhu will speak more about Krishna, because we want to be able to fully appreciate this appearance of Krishna on Janmashtami. And the more we hear about him, his pastimes, his qualities, and his names, the more we will be able to appreciate this wonderful auspicious day where Krishna is more present than any other day of the year. Hare Krishna. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Shri Krishna Janmashtami Ki Jai, Krishna Balarama Ki Jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande. Also, one thing, in Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada called this temple, he called the Krishna Balaram Mandir, because one reason, maybe, I mean this is not the reason, but it's in the place where Krishna and Balaram were performing their childhood pastimes. But we are serving Krishna through Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. And Nityananda is an incarnation or an expansion of Balaram. And Balaram is the Adi Guru. He's the Adi Guru and Adidas also, the original servant. So Srila Prabhupada wanted to emphasize that we are approaching Krishna, our process to approach Krishna is mainly through Lord Gauranga and Lord Nityananda, and through the spiritual master who is representative of them. And by their mercy we will be able to enter into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, if we so desire. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna